I think there are channels, and we should, comment on this in the forums as to where the communications channels are for people to understand what's being done there, and ultimately be able to participate in testing of this new stuff. But it's probably a broader or a complete rollout of this is probably more towards Q3 sometime or so. It all depends on how it goes. We want to be very transparent with the work we do. We want to include as many of you residents as possible in the development of this new functionality, so that you get feedback and can iterate to get it right before it gets just launched everywhere. It's be quite disruptive if you launch the wrong thing. So we'll be testing and iterating in collaboration with those of you who wants to take part and help us, and hopefully get it out broadly, Q3.
Awesome. All right. Let's see. Our next question is from Coffee du Jour. And that question is, going forward, what are Linden Labs' plans to bring new users into the fold and to incentivize past users to return?
Well, it's improved onboarding that I just discussed. The more likely that you discover something that's relevant to you, whether it's a community or experiences that you want to be part of, the more likely that you're going to come back. So it's performance, it's quality, it's features, it's not just things we do, but also enable you guys to create more better retention in content experiences that you make, to increase retention of our user base. And all of these things, whether it's marketing, product, technology, and capabilities for you to create communities and engage people with these communities, all of these things will ultimately add up to better retention and engagement. And so it sort of all adds up to making this happen. There is no one magic bullet. It's just a bunch of hard work and lots of areas to it's willingness and interest to. So it's kind of what we do almost every day, Yeah.
Awesome. One of the many things. Let's see. Next question is from Stefan Guadio, asking, says, Facebook is how people connect with friends and family in, quote, First Life. It is a great way to share what you do and where you are. Second Life has something similar, my.secondlife.com. I think that their question, I'm sorry, I don't have the rest of the question here in front of me. I think the rest of their question was sort of about whether there would be future investments into my Second Life.
Well, we're certainly not going to go implement Facebook. And there's probably 10,000 people over there, and we have a lot less people than that. So, but making it easier for social connections and for people to stay connected and create communities is a core part of Second Life. So then it's that those things are important to us. It doesn't mean that we're going to sort of build Facebook in here. And I don't know that. I'm not sure if the solution is mysecondlife.com. It could be improvements in group chat. It could be improvements in lots of areas over time. So but we do have some upgrades in plan to make it easier for you to stay connected and create friendships and communities and groups. And so more to come, but not Facebook as we know it.
All right. Yes, and I apologize. I think I just verified that was the question. I apologize. I didn't have the full one in front of me here. Hi. Next question is from Kobe Foden. Kobe asks, are there any plans to upgrade the ancient system avatar's shape to present-day standards? And if not, why? Did we lose voice again? Ebbe? I don't see Ebbe's dot anymore. You may have to relog. Oh boy, fun. Well, you guys can still hear me, and I still see my dot, and I see green coming out of my head, but I don't see Ebbe.
Yeah, we hear you, just not Ebbe.
All right. Seems like we have the greatest disco hits here. We had Le Freak, and then whatever was just playing. Quite a bit of the disco. So we'll give it a minute. I'm just letting. Looks like Ebbe's going to relog and try again. Oh, now I hear you.
Yeah, I had to relog. Hold on. I had to re-TP in here.
Oh, okay. That's so interesting.
Yeah, you were starting to tell me about Vic Forcella's question, and I lost you completely. So.
Oh, actually, you're jumping ahead.
Okay.
That was future question.
Okay.
I think we were but yeah, it was Kobe Foden's question about upgrading the system avatar shape to present-day standards. If there were plans for that, and if not, why not? Oh, and we lost voice again. Oh, poor Ebbe. See, we do know the struggles. Yeah, apparently he wants to skip to the next question. We might try the next question when he comes back, and then we'll circle back to that one. Hopefully not.
There we go.
Let's see. Oh yeah, so has anybody been over to Fantasy Fair yet? Haven't had a chance, but I'm looking forward to checking it out. I know that just opened.
It's awesome. They do such a good job there every year.
Is it today or yesterday? Yeah, it's fantastic. I can't wait to get over there. Yeah, while we wait for things to get up and running with Ebbe's voice again.
I didn't do it again.
I'm gonna blame you, Max.
I actually had to.
Now suddenly I hear you again.
TP out.
Okay, yeah, there you are.
Yeah.
I had to TP out to a different sim and then relog there and then come back here.
Yeah,
We're hearing
I don't know.
is that it's taking possibly over 30 seconds for voice to connect.
Ah, okay. Well, at least somebody's hopefully looking into it, and we can hopefully get some lessons from today, maybe, to help for the next time. Once again, thanks all for your patience. We know that can be painful. Okay. So I think what we'll do to try not to tempt fate, and I apologize, Kobe, we'll come back to your question, but we'll jump to Vic's question, and then we'll circle back and see if that maybe appeases the voice gods.
Are you blaming Cody for this whole thing?
No, I'm not blaming Kobe. All right. So Vic's question, in this time of privacy abuse, it needs to be asked, what is Linden Lab's position towards privacy, and more specific, the European laws that reign privacy? I think we touched a little bit on this morning as well.
Yeah, no, it's obviously extremely serious, very important its privacy is as protected as they want it to be. Like I talked about this morning, running a platform like this where you can all transact and make money and redeem money. Last year closed. Aggregate, you all redeemed almost $70 million. So that's a lot of people making a decent amount of money. That requires a lot of compliance. And so we have money transmitter licenses in every state of the US, and we follow all the laws for how data is stored and is protected and encrypted and separated away, and who internally has access, and obviously that no one externally has access, and also how we keep that data where it belongs. And we couldn't have this degree of compliance and money transmitter licenses, etc., if we did not have sufficient security and compliance around privacy. And so we will always pay attention to new laws and regulations that come up and make sure that we are in full compliance, not just for legal reasons, but also in the best interest of you all. So believe me, we take it very seriously, and we've been doing it for many years, and it's something that we don't have the luxury to be sloppy with at all. So this is very serious, and very proud of the work we've done to make sure that this personally identifiable information is stored and managed in very secure ways. So, and we also don't really participate in any business models that require us to leverage this data in ways that wouldn't want us to. So, we're all in this together.
Yeah, I think this is one of those rare opportunities where we can say this is why we can have nice things, because we have a crack team working hard on all of that stuff.
Yep.
All right, we'll jump back to Kobe's question really quickly. Fingers crossed. Are there plans to upgrade the system avatar shape to present-day standards, and if not, why not?
I don't know. It's tough for me to answer that question. What I'm not sure exactly. I think maybe lots of people would potentially interpret that question in different ways. I don't have a good answer. I mean, do we constantly try and iterate and improve the avatars? Yes. But we also want to make sure that creators here have the opportunity to they feel is right with the avatars and provide a lot of flexibility in it. It's a whole marketplace of user-created avatar and pieces of avatars, whether it's mesh heads and fashion. So I would need to this would need to be more specific for me to know, and then it might be so specific I don't have the answer yet again. But we do have some plan to work within the avatar team. So we mentioned earlier baked on mesh and bakes on mesh, so you can do tattoos, etc. And but I don't know how soon those things will reveal themselves. So, but better avatars is always in our interest.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I have to say I've probably, we'll say, given a fair share of my Lindens to many merchants, probably who are sitting here, to make my avatar look the way I like for her to look. Lots of hair, lots of clothes, but also the base avatar stuff, the bodies, the heads, the feet, all of it, fun stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, we made it through that question. We can still hear you. Voice is still
Ha!
We'll move on to
Okay.
Chinray's question, which is Linden Lab has announced an upgrade of the marketplace and increases in the marketplace and Lindex fees. Is the marketplace upgrade intended to increase the total revenue enough to compensate for the higher fees, or will merchants have to expect lower net income?
Well, I think in general, we've had fees on real estate, or real estate taxes have been too high and consumption taxes have been too low. And so in our efforts to lower the cost of land, we're having to find other places to get revenue. And that's in fees, whether it's transaction fees, redemption fees, or subscription fees, and or other things. And it's not like we can necessarily just say one-to-one that the fees map to marketplace upgrades, although are intending to make improvements to the marketplace. So hopefully by having a better balanced economy, goal of that is to make it better for everybody so that it's easier to grow population of people in this product, and with more users come more transactions. So even though there might be a margin squeeze on you, or maybe you will raise prices to make up for the difference as we increase fees on transactions, marketplace, but hopefully you'll make that up in volume, as we get more users on the platform. So it's, I think the primary goal is to get a better balanced economy, but we are also going to make improvements to the marketplace over time, and as well, as I spoke to this morning, being compliant for a product like this, where you can have buy and sell and transact and be able to redeem out close to $70 million per year, takes a huge amount of effort to be compliant. Get state licenses in every state for money transmission is not and to make everything secure. It's not a small undertaking. Normally in digital marketplaces, you have much higher percentage take than we have been taking historically from for transactions. So that's the direction we're moving.
All right, I think you actually maybe have just answered the next question, which I'll read just for the sake of if there's any further clarity you wanted to put into that, which is a question from Callie Klein asking, or saying actually that they would love to know if justified to make cases to cash out fees.
Yeah, and that justification is part of it is we've spent a huge amount of energy over the last 4 years to be in this compliance, which creates the security that there's no bad actors, money laundering, other crazy activities on the platform. Get all the money transmitter licenses in all the states. That's a huge effort, both technically to get to, which is great achievement by the team here. So that obviously comes at a cost for us. And then, like I said, part of it is not just. Part of it is also to better distribute our way we take in money between land and other fees. So, to what I said earlier, historically, I think we not collected enough on transactions and the marketplace and redemption, and collected too much on land. So that's why this transition is happening. And it's impossible to make this transition without, positively impacting some people and negatively impacting some other people. But the goal is to make it a healthier economy that makes it easier for us to grow which will be ultimately in the best interest of everybody.
Excellent. I know we got a little bit of a late start and there's been some delays with voice, but we are coming up to about 7 minutes until the hour is over. But we will have some extra time, I believe. Ebbe, you have a little bit of extra time, I think, right? Or
yeah, let's keep it going.
all right, great. So I'm going to try to get through as many of these remaining questions as we can, so that we can then maybe take some questions from the audience. Here's one from David Lupine. David asks, with the changes to premium plans, etc., is there any plan to change how errors, premium accounts, or those accounts who are behind on payment are handled? As an example, not locking them out.
Say that again. Is there?
With the changes to premium plans that we've talked about, there would be some changes happening for subscriptions.
Yeah.
They're curious if there are thoughts about potentially not locking out premium accounts that are behind on payment or in errors. I believe that currently, if somebody goes into that status, their accounts can get locked. Is that correct? I don't want to speak out of turn here. Question.
Yeah, I mean, for how long are we willing to not get paid for a service we provide before we take action? Or what are the implications of taking those actions? I don't have the details in my head. I think in general, Patch and his team are extremely flexible. I mean, I feel oftentimes they go way out of their way to help people catch up if they're late on fees or payments. And in business I've been involved with before, I think Patch and his team goes to extraordinary lengths to be thoughtful, and the amount of information they know about how much they know about users, and how they can take very subjective opinions on whether someone will be likely to catch up or not. So, sorry, I'm getting a message here from Grumpy. It's quite long about this that I can't. It's Grumpy. But we do give people a good window to sort of catch up and correct, and then you can still get in after that. So I think we're quite thoughtful and liberal when it comes to making sure that if people get into a squeeze here and there, that we don't get into some irreparable harm from that. So. But we can review it and see if there's more we can do to help people that occasionally have a challenge to stay current. I feel we've done well historically to.
Yeah, great. So thanks, guys. I know there's a lot of you typing into chat, and definitely hear your concerns. As Ebbe said, we'll review and see. I'll move on to the next question. We have a few more minutes left. This one comes from Charlotte Bartlett, and this is more sort of let's see. The question is, now that you have had some time to settle into your role, how many years now have you been with us, Ebbe?
4 years.
4 years.
4 years and a tiny bit of change, yeah.
The fire hose has not stopped, probably. Now that you've had a chance, some time to settle into your role, what have you found to be the biggest challenges with Second Life in regards to your planned vision for the upcoming years? And how are you overcoming those challenges? And what are you most excited about in the future plans for Second Life?
Well, I mean, like I said earlier, I'm extremely excited about the team here that works on Second Life. And if you knew how hard they work and how dedicated they are and how much they love the product they work on and the work they work on and how much they love working together, that's an incredible luxury for all of us. And I'm also extremely excited because I feel like this team has achieved a huge amount the last few years. It's in a good position to go for growth. I think we were less optimistic about growth of a couple of years ago than we are today. I think we are more optimistic that we can get growth back, and that's all thanks to the incredible dedication and hard work by this team. I'm also, just generically, just so fascinated and excited about just the general idea of what Second Life is and how incredibly empowering and special it is for so many people. How it is absolutely life-changing. Huge number of people with their lives would not be as good as they are today because of thanks to Second Life. So they and there's so many opportunities to make things better. So I think the challenge is just the incredible breadth and depth of what Second Life offers. So there's so many things we want to do. So prioritizing the right things to do and sort of get the best return on investment is always a challenging task to make sure we do what's absolutely best for you all at all times. Because there's so many things we want to do, but it's impossible to get to all of it. So we constantly have to make very diligent about trade-offs and best we can to understand what the return on investments across these different efforts are. And so my excitement is that we're a great team. We have great users, and the residents in Second Life do amazing things for themselves and for others. Incredible communities. The fact that we are empowering people to, where it's relevant, but empowering a lot of people to make money and to feed themselves and their families and run successful businesses. I mean, that's incredible. Not a lot of platforms provide that, and so so really the challenge, I would say, is mostly making sure that we're choosing the right things to deliver. And once we get to growth, it's a bit here, we're right on the sort of edge of growth. That would mean that we could invest more, and that's going to be awesome to be able to even accelerate what we all wish we could accomplish in this product. So those are some thoughts on that question.
Great. I think we got actually to all of our original questions, so I just want to take a minute before we break out of the official time frame here. And again, thank everybody for being here, and remind everybody that for those questions that we didn't get to from the forums, there will be Linden staff jumping in probably sometime next week, and to start answering some of the more specific and highly technical questions. And feature-related suggestions that we saw there. So please go back to that thread when you get a chance sometime next week, and questions should be answered there. As you can see, we go through as many questions as we can, and sometimes it runs longer, then sometimes it takes a little bit to get through all of them. So once again, thank you all for joining us, and I think now that it is a little after 2, we can open it up to some questions from the audience. Ebbe, how would you prefer those questions come through to you? Do you have any preference?
I don't know. Let's just wing it.
All right. I better get on my feet for this.
Yeah, that's. So we can have people just ask shout-out questions, or I can look in chat.
I'll ask the first question. Could it be possible to set it up so that when a sim is, oh, sorry, yeah,
Try again.
across the border,
Region.
yeah, across the border,
Yeah, I'll stay back
the
here.
voice is separate. Would it be possible to set it up so that when somebody has to reboot or shut down a sim or it gets shut down for an update, that instead of kicking everybody off or forcing people to leave, that instead they stay in like another instance of the region, and then an instance of the region is loaded up alongside of it, like invisible to everybody. You know, like it's just loading up on its own, and then the people are teleported over to the new instance that's been rebooted, and then the old instance is shut down. So in other words, it's a seamless transition. You don't even notice that, other than a quick teleport, you don't really notice that the sim has rebooted.
It's a neat idea. I mean, Sansar is kind of built to maybe support something like that because it has built-in instancing as part of its platform. And it'll be a good question for Oz as to whether something like that would be possible in Second Life. And then again, even if it was, how much effort would it take to do? And then on top of that, how common of a use case is that versus everything else that's on the potential roadmap of things to do? So would it make it north of the line of things to actually get to? I can't speculate on.
I would just like to say, as a sim owner, you lose a lot of traffic when people leave because the sim has to go down, either because we had to reboot it because of performance, or because there's a patch that can't be canceled and the sim has to reboot.
Yeah.
Everybody leaves, they go somewhere else, and then they don't want to come back.
Totally understand that. Totally understand that. And ideally, we wouldn't need you to have to restart it in the first place, which we don't necessarily always have control over because we don't know what you're doing there, what scripts you're running, and what implications those things could have. So it's hard for us to be full of flexibility you have in what you can do. So I understand it makes sense. I just couldn't speak to how hard and how it would be prioritized, but it's a good idea.
I have a question that was sent to me via IM. As a person, I guess, is unable to use voice at the moment. This might be a more technical question, but I will ask it anyway, so that it's at least on the radar. I know we've got people here from the product team, and that is, do we have plans to allow residents to view key pair data? See, it's already over my head. Without using functions like using a UI similar to a database. Understand that?
All right, we're going deep. I mean, these are questions that are great for the forums and for our technical staff to get into.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that right now, as you'll find, the thread that we opened up for this is actually locked. We wanted to make sure that we had a full list of all of the questions that were asked within a certain time frame. So that is currently locked, so you won't be able to ask additional questions there. But one of the things that I would like to do going forward is have more sessions like this, as well as some AMA type forum related things with different people from product, so that we can address some of these more specific questions there. For sure.
I'm not sure. So Palisade, he thought this would be a more technical version of the town halls. I'm not sure who gave it a question, because it's hard for me, the CEO, to get into specific database or APIs or what have you. I'm pretty geeky, but I can't keep track of, all the plumbing in all the things we do. I think what we were trying to say, if we confused you there, was that it's probably best to ask those technical questions on the forums, where the right people can get to those answers for you.
You mind if I ask the next question?
Go ahead.
All right. So this is a really, really old question a lot of us have had before. When is Second Life going to be optimized for our PCs? Like, for example, there are people out here that build $4,000, I know it's overkill, but $4,000, $5,000 PCs, and our internet is beautiful, right? but we always seem to hit lag. I know that's in every other, program or video game, whatever you want to call SL, but when are we going to get optimized graphics?
Well, it's not necessarily just graphics. I mean,
I know it's a lot more than that.
Yeah, it's a lot more than that, and it's also not necessarily completely up to us, because user-created content comes in highly unoptimized flavors all the time. So, like if you were just a gaming studio creating a game, the amount of effort that goes on between artists and engineers to super optimize those for that particular use case and that content and assets is a highly optimized process. Here we're dealing with user-created scripts, user-created content, user-created textures, and sometimes that can be highly unoptimized. And then we have, incredible flexibility with all these avatars, what all these avatars are wearing, content and script, and so we're dealing with challenges that games don't even to having to deal with. And so, but there's lots to work. We've come a long way. Second Life today is more performant than it's ever been, thanks to a number of initiatives, whether it's jelly babies to low-level plumbing to better server infrastructure to better code, and we're going to continue to make it better and better and better. We're going to continue to be challenged with user-created content of all kinds. So it's a constant priority, whether it's the rendering pipeline, server infrastructure, all things in between, to make it constantly more and more perfect.
That's awesome. You see, now you educated me. I'm very happy with that answer. I appreciate it.
Cool.
May I ask the next
Can I
one?
ask a question?
I think that one of you go.
Ebbe?
Yes.
This is Shiloh the Gecko. So I saw
Hey!
Hey, Ebbe. I saw it's about educating content creators, and I was wondering if there's any thought about taking groups that have certain technical needs or benefits to certain ways of building and allowing them to be on maybe focus groups that help design some of the content that builders could use to as they learn about building, like the recommendations. I know we can't put rules on buildings, but maybe the recommendations. I mean, simple things even like naming objects is of course there, but it even goes into, functionality. And I wanted to say too, I really like this idea of being able to land directly in a sim of your choosing from the get-go.
From the get-go?
Yeah.
Sorry. From the get-go and the get-go.
From the get-go.
Yeah. 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 I mean, there's so much there, and it's the skill sets is so broad, right? You have script and optimization of thinking about smart script, textures, reuse of textures, not using textures too large. It's animation. I mean, there's and oftentimes it's not even one and the same person. Audio. It's not even sometimes the same person that have all those different skill sets. And obviously helping you create better, higher quality, more performant content is in all of our interest. It's the better content you can make that is part of the equation. It's not just for us to technically we have in that area. I know we have. I don't know. I can't speak to it directly. Maybe.
Ooh, Grumpity's got something to say.
All right, Grumpity, speak up, Grumpity.
We have done countless rounds talking about this, and it's not that we're not painful aware of the impact that this has and the problems that are caused by lost inventory, but I'm afraid to say it's highly improbable that this would become available.
I think
Screwed.
It would honestly be more feasible to work on account security and making the login system more secure before doing that.
Possibly.
I'm going to say practically anything else in Second Life is going to be more feasible than doing that, and doing things in Second Life is really hard.
But, you know, sometimes you might make mistakes with your own inventory, so it's not always just bad actors that are doing things. So, yeah. Have good passwords. Don't share them.
Vic, that was Grumpy that was just talking right before Ebbe, if that's what you're asking about. Grumpity Linden.
I'd like to bring up a topic.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's going back to the premium accounts. I speak for everyone here when I say, is it really fair that we have to make a new account, or can we just activate premium our current account and change your name?
Oh, absolutely. You can activate premium on your account and change your name.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah, you don't need to create a new account, no.
I was about to say, I have so much stuff, man. You have no idea.
Oh, I have an idea. I'm a hoard when it comes to my inventory, too.
May I ask a follow-up question to that?
Yeah.
Shoot.
Say someone would like to use Second Life Premium to change their display name, or not their display name, their legacy name, and they later find out that they don't have the funds anymore to pay for premium. Will their name change be reversed, or will it remain the same?
You get to keep it.
Okay. So technically it could just be like a one-time fee then.
Yes, there will be a one-time fee associated with the account name change as well. It's possible that it would still be limited just to premium accounts. There's no limit to how many times you can change your name as long as you pay for every occurrence. There's some possibility that the pricing will be different for premium and basic accounts as well. So there's still some stuff that we haven't settled on, but you can expect that premium accounts will have an advantage here.
All right, thank you.
As you can see, there's nowhere else you can get married and divorced as cheap as you can in SL and change your last name. So we're about a 5-minute mark from the 2:30. I know we're going about a half hour over here, Ebbe. I didn't know how much time you had, but I did want to make note there.
Yeah, my wife just I almost said left me. Wow, no, not that serious. But she just flew to London last night, so I got to go home and take care of dogs. Make sure they're.
Wait. One last question. It's very serious. What type of dogs do you have?
I have 2 pit mixes right now. 2 pit mix girls, and my son has a pit mix boy. But previously I've had 2 Weimaraners.
You're my favorite person on SL. That's all I have to say.
You're a fan of pit mixes?
I have a Rhodesian Ridgeback and a pit mix.
All right. Yeah, they're such lovely animals. They're
we actually Tia was able to get Cody's question, Ebbe, if you have a second.
Awesome.
All right, let me just get that from Tia real quick. Thanks, Tia, by the way. How low the price can go on land? How low can you go?
I mean, technically it could go to 0, I guess, but that's not likely. I I mean, we just lowered mainland by, actually you could argue we lowered it by more than 10%. I mean, it was 10% reduction, but also a doubling of the allotment. So that's, that's quite a significant improvement. And the buy down program, remind me, Grumpy, what was the deal there? How much lower did it go?
For a full island, we charged $600 up front, and the cost went down to 2/3 of the original cost for a full region. So,
Yeah, so
from $295 to $195 for a full region.
Yeah, so once you've sort of gone a few months in, you've paid for that upfront fee, you're then at $195 on a go-forward basis for those who chose to participate in that program. And we did that program for a limited amount of time because we wanted to see what the impact of a price drop was that and make sure that we took some money up front to protect ourselves. And up next is, Grumpy and I and the team talk a lot about, the next steps we can take and how far we can cut it, and what other things might have to happen in fees to sort of make up for that difference.
Oh, Cody's there again.
Yeah. God, I feel like I suck at understanding what Cody's saying. I need help again. Yes.
He asked if you can give a discount to people who are disabled on land.
Yeah, the tricky part is for us, I guess, I would love to. The tricky part, I think, is for us to understand what's the definition of disabled, and how do we sort of go through the process of defining someone as disabled or not. It could be a challenge for a team to figure out how to go through that process. I mean, we do the process for nonprofit, and that can also be challenging sometimes with in different countries and states too. What's the definition of that? But I'll be happy to talk to Cody on the side to figure out what we can do.
Awesome. I think that is it for today. Once again, everybody, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for hanging out after. Definitely look forward to more of these. I think we've got some things already lined up that we'll be sharing that we hinted at in the blog, that Ebbe will be making a couple of more appearances, not just a couple more, but making some more appearances, as well as some other people on the Second Life staff side of things like to get in here. And I definitely look forward to seeing all of you now through our 15th anniversary and beyond. And keep an eye on our blog for sure for all of the to do. And thanks, Ebbe, for your time coming. Take up a little bit more than we usually have on the schedule.
It's totally my pleasure. Don't do it often enough, and look forward to doing more of it. And oh, thanks, Gentle Heron, for that. I'd love to have that conversation.
Yes.
Yeah, let's do it again soon.
Yes, and once again, for those of you who missed it, we'll be answering more questions in the forum as well that we didn't get to here today. So if you had a question out there that didn't get asked, be sure to check back there sometime next week, as we have more people jumping in to help answer those questions for you.
Yeah, and if any of you have interesting events or situations where you think it would be a good idea for me to drop in and have a chat with you, feel free to invite me. I'm pretty busy, but I would love to spend more time with you in all kinds of places and situations. So let's stay in touch.
And I just want to publicly also thank Brett, who is the silent silent one over there who has been working really hard with me and Ebbe, and Grumpity as well, who has also been working really hard to bring this together and make this happen. So I just wanted to thank that awesome cohorts.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Zola. Thank you, team.
Thanks. And Patch too. Can't forget Patch.
Yeah, Patch. All right.
All right, bye guys. Thank you.
Cheers, everybody.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Cody and everybody. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Goedenavond.
So now what? What are we gonna do next?
I think it's time to drink. Isn't it time
Party.
to drink?
It's only 2:30.
Okay, so what's your point?
Somebody mention a party?
It's Friday.
I was gonna
It
say
is
it's
Friday.
like
Happy Friday,
2:30. That's like drink time, isn't it?
Let's,
4:20 somewhere.
let's do some shopping.
Well,
Let's
it's
go some
4:20
hair
today,
shopping.
actually. Except in
shoe
Australia,
shopping.
it's 4:21.
Oh, that's right. I was supposed to go get waffles.
Those Aussies and their being from the future and whatnot. Ooh, can you get into Fantasy Fair, Silas? I mean, I can because I have the power.